Playing Halo Campaign Evolved felt like being punished for something and not knowing necessarily for what you are being punished. The entire thing with 343 Industries, now renamed to Halo Studios because the negativity attached to the name was so great, they at least had to try to give themselves the fresh start. For fuck's sake, they called themselves 343, which is literally the villain, the destroyer in this aspect. Like, the name actually fit them. I never say that everything that 343 Industries created is like bad, terrible, and should be eviscerated. Like, they had some moments, especially with Infinite, that was actually kind of accepted by majority of the Halo community, and 343 decided to kill it because they are unable to provide content for the game that people actually enjoyed. So, the Halo Infinite is kind of finite. So, the Halo remake, or maybe rather Campaign Evolved right now, they also did something that, like, they didn't really have to create any content for it, right? They didn't have to focus on making the content, creating the lore, doing the writing. They already had those ready for them. They had to remake the game. But they still decided to double and triple down on it, and they decided to write additional 3 missions that feel more of a fan fiction rather than actually a part of the game, and I assume they knew it because they didn't include those missions as a part of the main campaign. They introduced them as a bonus missions that are completely separate from the main game, and they don't even tie into the campaign itself, it's about like Johnson and Chief finding the Covenant layer, so I'm like, why did you decide to include it in the remake of Halo Combat Evolved? I mean, it doesn't really tie in, but whatever. So they of course added some terrible voice lines in this 3 additional missions. Chief seems to be a little bit too chatty, if you ask me. Johnson is acting completely like smug all over the place. He's like, "Hey Chief, are you tired ever to being this silent type?" No. I mean, it's cringe. I don't know why did you feel like you have to include these types of like conversations between Chief and Johnson. And it feels like they wanted to make Johnson into something more in this campaign when Johnson became something more, especially in the second game. So, I don't know, like, they are trying to up themselves. And they made this 3 mission additional content, and those missions are not really great. So, like, they introduced this new character, by the way, whose name is Williams, and she is a queen of cringe. I mean, real cringe. So, I didn't necessarily hate the character itself existing. I hated how she was written because, oh my lord, like, Williams is an ODST, and by lore reasons, which was expanded on in the books and yada yada, ODSTs don't really like Spartans. Most people who play this game are not going to even know about it. Like, actual Halo people don't know about this lore because it's not like common knowledge that ODSTs kinda hate Spartans and Spartans kinda don't like ODSTs. So her being negative towards Chief is understandable from the lore perspective. If someone is familiar with it already, they are going to get it. Which, at the same time, they rely on you knowing the lore to understand that why Williams doesn't like Chief, but at the same time they break the lore that they rely on because they introduced flawed pure forms into Combat Evolved campaign, which there is no logical reason they are even in this campaign. They are actually breaking the lore because flawed pure forms were introduced in Halo 3. So it actually does not fit the game, it breaks the game because the pure forms actually actively bug out. You can break the AI of those enemies constantly. But we are talking about Williams here. And I kind of drifted off to talking about the flawed pure forms because, listen, Williams is not an interesting character. There's not much to talk about, but she is terribly written. She's written in this way to belittle Chief, and people will find issue with that, especially if they don't know the lore issues between, like, Spartans and ODST. So, the way it is presented, the way it is written, it's cringe, it's bad, it's terrible, and they want to make her this badass, but instead of showing you her being a badass, they only tell you that she's a badass. And yeah, I'm talking about the line, yeah, Spartans aren't the only badasses in the UNSC.
Nice work.
Thanks. Spartans aren't the only badasses in the UNSC. So, did you take out the prophet?
Cringe. Bad writing. Show me her being a badass. Don't tell me. Don't make her tell me that she's a badass. Okay, so when I heard this line, I went like full cringe mode. The cold rush went up and down on my spine. I couldn't survive this. So, like, the additional missions are a mixed bag, okay? I'm not going to be completely trashing those 3 additional missions, even though I'm going to be completely trashing this game. So, they feel lazily slapped together at the last moment to add value to the game that they will charge you $50 for. And they, for some reason, decided to cut out multiplayer out of Halo game. So, the first mission is god-awful. Repetitious rooms, you're going through the same arena, copy-pasted, copy-pasted, copy-pasted. When I actually went through the same room 3 times, I wanted to shut down the game. And it is genuinely a mission that will put you to sleep. So if you have insomnia, put on the Halo Campaign Evolve bonus missions, run the first mission, you're going to be sleeping like a baby. So there is this like also like god-awful cutscene in this first mission where the Prophet is introducing all of the enemies. I mean, Chief and Johnson stand in front of the Prophet and he's introducing all of the enemies one by one. And it feels like it's a copy from the Dragon Ball Z, and it's so bad. And nobody is shooting, nobody is attacking anything, they just listen to him monologuing, and it's so bad. I was like, it's astonishing. This actually went through, and people will say like, yep, it's good, slap it onto the game. I have no idea what type of quality control is going at 343 Industries. I'm not calling you Halo Studios, fuck you. Or what kind of quality control is going on Xbox, but we do know because Asha Sharma is trying to fix this godforsaken drowning ship in flames. It's in flames and it's drowning at the same time, okay? Asha Sharma needs to fix this. So, the second mission is a little bit of a change of pace, okay? So Williams comes into play in the second mission, so you actually are actively kept awake because she's so cringe, she's not allowing you to fall asleep. And the change of environment is also kind of nice. So, like, the second mission is actually kind of fine, decent. I managed to actually get stuck on the tree in this mission, and I had to reload the checkpoint because I tried to climb the tree. And this is what happened. So, that is also a great start to a level. But the second level is fine with an additional dose of cringe, okay? The third level is probably the best. It's probably the best, despite of the fact that you just go through the rooms on the ship, that you just go through one and another and another and another, and those are the same rooms, and they don't even feel like Halo. They feel like someone took heavy inspiration from Doom Eternal and Urdak Planet. If you don't know, this is Urdak, and yes, those were white rooms, sci-fi kept, and it looks basically the same. So we end up the mission with the space battle, which is like flying around, shooting ships, turrets on the enemy ships, blah blah blah. Okay, so fine. Ultimately, just a copy of something that was in Halo Reach in a much better form, because the Halo Reach is a much superior game, and if you say that Halo Reach is worse than this, you're Your opinion doesn't matter to me. So, however, even if it is a copy of the Halo Reach, it's fine, okay? The mission is completely fine. So, ultimately, 3 bonus missions, completely devoid of life, soul, any creativity, but fine, additional missions, okay. So, they kinda were like reusing stuff to the point where they just jumped in, took tracks from all the Halo games, and I don't mean to just reuse the tracks from the Halo CE, because that would be actually like making sense. No, all of a sudden you're playing and you hear like a OST from Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Infinite, and you're like, the music doesn't even fit what is happening on the screen. But they did it. They actually stole from themselves, even from Halo Infinite. So everything is all over the place. It doesn't really fit together. The missions are just rushed because it's like a story that needed maybe a little bit more time. But they rushed it through 3 missions that maybe you can finish in like 1.5 hours. And nothing really ties into the main game. So what was actually the point? Well, I don't know. So there is a long section where you ride and stand in place. This is actually in the 3rd mission. And yeah, there's like the 3rd mission is still the best. But there's a segment of this mission when you just stand on the platform, defend yourself from the enemies on the sides, and maybe 2 or 3 times someone actually jumped on the platform and they had to run away. All the time I was just sitting in the corner on heroic difficulty, and nobody could even shoot me. So yeah, the most boring sequence of the entire 3 additional bonus missions is in the best mission. Kinda makes no sense, but that's how it is. So campaign itself, man, I mean, how the fuck do you take something that was already made? It was already made by the more talented people than you are. You took it, you remastered it, you had some contact with this, okay? The fan responses also, you had them for the remaster, okay? Where it got criticized, where it was praised, and they took all the wrong lessons from it. They took the responses from fans and decided to triple and quadruple down on it. So everything is shiny, changing the aesthetic of the level. Everything looks fake. Some shitty decisions, like, I don't know, like, really? You couldn't even implement like the feedback from fans. So the game was also made on Unreal Engine, so obviously it's going to have performance issues for a lot of people. And if you for some reason are one of the lucky few that your PC is going to be handling this game on a stable frame rate with no issues, the game is going to find some issues to fuck you over. So to record the playthrough, I was using OBS obviously, and I also use PS5 controller on my PCs. That's emulated as 361. So now that already broke the game to begin with. How? Well, when I turned on the game, the prompts on the controller started screwing up and getting mixed up with keyboard ones, and this happened only on this game. No other game had this problem. So, when they stabilized, I clicked the button on my controller, and the game spits out an error that I am on the wrong unauthorized account to run this game. Okay, I just paid for Game Pass. $1, by the way. Okay, so I had to click a button on the keyboard, so the game is actually going to log me into my account. And when I clicked on the keyboard and it started loading me in, the game froze. And that happened multiple times, so I didn't know how to even start the game. I decided to close software one by one, and turns out OBS being on for the initial startup of the game would break the game. So I had to shut down OBS, turn on the game, then I could actually turn on OBS, and when I logged in, I also could use my controller normally without an error being spit out that the controller is causing me to not be authorized to run the game. Never mind. And there was also this magnificent thing happening. So when I was using in a main menu and trying to start the game with a controller, it would constantly try to add me on the controller on PC as a second player, but I couldn't add myself as a second player because it was asking me to log in, and if I click OK, then it would spit out that I am a main player, so I can't be the second player. And at the end of the day, I had to like forego and the controller and play on a keyboard without controller. I just tested when I was already inside the game. Then I decided to test the controller. It was fine, but I could not start the game using the controller on PC because it would constantly ask me about logging in the second Xbox account because it recognized controller as a second player because the first one uses keyboard and mouse. What is this company, dude? I had to turn off the OBS. I had to use my keyboard for the initial like startup because after this you can just use it. Funny thing, with the later like turning on the game, OBS would not be an issue. You could just have an OBS running in the background and the game would just start. Really weird set of problems that I never encountered in a video game on my PC, and I game on PC for 20 years, by the way. So, shout out. So, amazing set of problems from the start. But that's not even it. Because when I finished the game, I decided to uninstall it. But then I was like, well, maybe I'm gonna check one more thing. I installed it again, and I couldn't turn it on. And I tried shutting down the OBS, I tried unplugging the controllers, I tried everything. Nothing. Turns out, for some reason, the game wanted me to reset my PC so I can actually get into the game because it would greet me with the black screen. It's amazing how brains of people at 343 Industries work. I am stunned. So, first mission, I actually was like, okay, let's just go in. Let's just go in, and we are going to just start on the legendary. Okay. First cutscene where you watch Johnson rallying up the troops. He looks like he got pulled from Fortnite and he's trying to be over the top, and the new voice actor is not really as amazing as the old one, obviously, but I will give him a credit. He is trying and he is fine for the most part. We still prefer the OG, but I wouldn't say he's bad. He's just different, and that's not something that 343 could even do something about because the OG actor for the Johnson retired and he is no longer doing voice acting, so they had to change him. The ultimate idea would be not remaking the game. Didn't need remaking, but whatever. So the first mission started on legendary, extremely easy. I was shocked. So second mission had me die a few times, still easy, still on legendary. And in the first mission I also managed to push keys through the whole ship until the game decided to despawn him because I pushed him too far. Like on the last stretch as I was going to the shuttles, they decided to just despawn him. In fact, like, you can push most NPCs in the game. They didn't glue them. You can just push them, and you can push them off the edge, and you can kill them all. It's all over the place. So, like, if you are going to, for an example, push off Marines from the edge, and you, like, make them die, Cortana is just going to say, "We couldn't save them." Really? That's all you got? Okay. So, mission three of the main campaign is the place when I actually gave up on the legendary mode, because playing I noticed that the game broke. So there's a moment when Johnson says that they are going to let you scout ahead, and you have to sneakily scout ahead, take out the enemies with your sniper rifle. And it doesn't work on legendary, it doesn't even work on heroic, because like sniper rifle is so nerfed that you can't one-shot elites. So yeah, you genuinely just go in guns blazing from the first sequence, and the Marines join in. You are going to be fighting the enemies, so guns blazing, it's fine, it's completely fine. And when the sequence is going to end, you move in on to the next sequence. And then Johnson says, We're doing the same thing, Marines. Chief is going to scout ahead and we are going to stay behind and we join in when the fight starts. Well, the fight started, nobody joined in. So I'm fighting everyone by myself. I'm going to the next section. And Johnson repeats the same line, but no Marines join in. So I finish everyone by myself and I go to the next section. And then the next section, when Johnson repeated the same voice line, I was like, oh yeah, so they are stuck on the second arena. I genuinely had NPCs being 3 arenas back and I had to fight alone. I only had like additional fire team join in for the like 4th section that get wiped out in a matter of seconds. So I shut down the game, I switched to normal. On normal, everything played well. After 2 missions on normal difficulty, I was like, okay, I'm actually playing a kiddie game. Like, this is just embarrassingly easy. After the 3rd mission, when I just tried jumping past enemies, I decided, I'm curious, can I do this on like higher difficulty levels? Can I just skip the enemies with the new addition that is Sprint in Halo 1? On Legendary, I was actually too chicken shit. I couldn't. Why? Because like I would constantly die. But I was like, okay, I just don't want to waste my time on this game. Let's go to Heroic. And on Heroic, I'm going to be playing like this to the end of the game. And on Heroic, the game is extremely easy. I would just run past enemies and health regen, that they change medkits to health regen, makes it so easy that it's no matter how much enemies are going to pour ammo into you, you can just run past them, and when you get past the sequence with enemies, once you get to the second sequence with the enemies, your health is full, your shield is full, you are fine, and you can just run past everyone, and you don't have to worry about them, and it's laughable. It's laughably easy, and even if fighting enemies, it's laughably easy. So, sometimes, occasionally, I would die. I would die being one-shot on full HP. Why? Because for an example, grunts can one-shot you with charged beam, one-shot you, and that's it. Charged up shot can actually kill you if you are on 100 HP and 100% shield. It's like they are snipers, okay? So they one-shot you with this, even on normal difficulty this happens. I couldn't believe this. They actually messed it up to some ridiculous proportions. So that is a problem that should be addressed by, I actually doubt they are going to address it because the team is getting fired. And sometimes I would be like one shot, one killed by an elite that didn't attack me. So elite could be like 10 steps away from me, but he would like swipe his hand and I would die. Great stuff. That happened multiple times during the playthrough. So, other than that, everything brained it to the highest extent. I witnessed horrible yellow Cortana with Jerma's face being so annoying. And it's funny because like the dialogue is literally the same, but the delivery is completely different. The Cortana's actress is doing some overacting to the point the scene is actually ridiculously bad. I couldn't stomach this. So they added one nice thing that I'm going to give them credit for. In the mission 9, the Keys mission, where there's a moment when Keys is starting to say his number over the comms, like to represent that he's still him and he's trying to fight the flood infection. He's trying to fight it, so he's repeating his number.
19912 JK.
That was really nice touch. I think that was really nice. But other changes, not so much. So for an example, they did alter the library level. So like almost universally hated level. And in my opinion, the changes are kind of comical. So they threw in a bunch of pure flood forms to this section. And as you're playing, you can actually bug them out really easy. So for an example, there are a bunch of places that you can jump on and you are on a higher like position. So when the Flood is attacking you, they are unable to interact with Chief that is standing on a higher position. They are unable to actually crawl onto you. They are crawling on your screen, but they fall off and they deal no damage. The only way a Flood can actually deal damage when you're standing on an elevated position is to blow up next to you, and those are some minuscule damage numbers, so they are not even relevant. The only enemies that can hurt you are the ones with the rifles, and they miss 90% of the time. But pure Flood forms, so you're going to jump on the elevated position, and the Flood pure forms are just going to run around, and they are unable to do anything because they can't shoot, they can't really do anything, and they will not jump to this position. Even though they can jump occasionally, they will not jump to the high position. So you can just stand and you can just put lead into them. That's it. That's genuinely the whole level. You just search for the high elevated position, you jump onto it, you're safe. A joke. A massive joke. This is a company that was handling Halo for the last 15 years. And they still can't even deal with the elevated positions. So the enemies will be able to hurt you. Are you kidding me? This shit is so badly made. It's astonishing. A lot of times the enemies would just stand and do nothing in this game. Especially if you are too far away from them. You can just kill them because they are not even going to move. They are going to be standing frozen in place. On Legendary, for an example, I was getting mad. Why? Because the enemies would constantly run away from me. I wouldn't be even able to shoot them because they were just running away. They wouldn't rush me, they wouldn't shoot me, they would just run away. On Heroic, it was a little bit more on the middle of the road. Some would rush towards me, some would run away. And on normal every single enemy would try to be like a kamikaze style, running into me, trying to kill me as fast as possible, but they are not bullet sponges, so they die pretty easy. And for comparison's sake, I turned on Must Chief Collection version of CE, and the enemy AI on Legendary is amazing. Comparatively to this dog shit, holy shit. They would rush me if they felt like I'm slacking on hiding too long, or for an example, they would know that I'm reloading, they would actually rush towards me. They would run away from nades, they would jump away, they would use covers and try to like duck when I was shooting at them. They would actually take cover, and when I would try to reload, they would then peek from behind the cover and tries to shoot me. One time I was actually shooting at the elite, I got rid of his fucking shield, and the second elite would cover the other elite with his shield, so I am going to have a harder time killing them both. This is the AI of a game that was released in 2001, my guy, and the remake stuff, it's unreal. On the first level, on the Legendary, one elite was running so far away from me, he would genuinely just run and hide inside the flames and would be burning. They would actually run away to the place that they actually are going to die in because the AI is so stupid. Shit is unreal. And I don't mean Unreal Engine. Comparing this to like CE Legendary 1, I mean like this is not a joke. The enemies are completely brain dead no matter the difficulty. Gunplay is also mediocre, it doesn't feel really fulfilling. I genuinely felt like I'm pressing the left mouse button and just running forward with my brain off. And you don't even have to pay attention to anything because from the get-go, with the settings that are like set by the game itself, by the devs themselves, you have plenty of markers on the screen when you're playing. So every single gun that you can pick up is marked by a marker. Every single point that you have to interact with and where you have to go, everything is shown by a marker. Every enemy, when like you're playing and you're gonna wipe out most of the enemies and there's going to be like 5-6 enemies left, they are going to mark them for you. So you have stealth invisible enemies, and those invisible enemies are getting marked by red squares above their heads. So what is the point of the camouflage at this point if you're just going to mark them for me and I know where they are? Like an absolute joke. You don't have to think about doing anything in this game. And by the way, even if the weapons are marked that you can actually pick them up, sometimes they are not going to allow you to pick them up, because multiple times I had a weapon and I couldn't pick it up, and I had to, like, for an example, change to the secondary weapon, and I could only swap it for the secondary weapon. I genuinely just couldn't decide for myself. So like I wanted to like exchange like one rifle that I had for an example a plasma blaster, and I couldn't. I had to change to the second weapon that I have, and just then the game allowed me to, for an example, swap the weapon. I couldn't just swap the weapons that I wanted to swap. Other times, I, for an example, wanted to pick up a weapon, and I couldn't pick it up. Why? Because it was inside the textures. It was actually in the ground, and the game didn't allow me to actually pick it and use it. Of course, enemies are deaf. You can sprint behind them, run up to them, sell them the melee, and they are going to die. And they even did change the ending cutscene, by the way. Original cutscene was great. It had weight. Chief going into the ship from the back, stumbling to get to the cockpit, trying to get to keep the balance so he can run away from Halo with Cortana. In here, they changed the ship to have a ship with the open cockpit. He gets in, puts down his rifle with all of the enemies around him. He doesn't close the cockpit. He gets attacked by a Puriform, by the way. Tries to fight it off with his hands and tries to pick up the rifle. The rifle falls behind the seat. Duh. And then he saves himself with a magnum that Keys gave him. They felt like they have to MCU-fy this shit for some reason. And that's not the only time they did it. There's this cool moment in this third mission of the game where they try to escape from the Covenant ship, and Keys is piloting the ship, and at the last moment he's like, as the last goodbye to the Covenant, he smashes the ship into the two hunters that are watching them escape. And it's kept really nicely tight and like off camera, so it's not going to look cringe. In here, they have this MCU style Bollywood type shit when Chief is for some reason not inside the ship. Keys is just flying around and Chief is hiding behind the pillar, and two hunters are going at him from both sides, and at the same moment in slow motion Keys is smashing into them with the pillar inside the ship. And I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Calling this shit Bollywood, I feel like it's an insult to Bollywood, okay? The Bollywood movies deserve better than this. This is straight up garbage. I genuinely wanted to turn off the game when I saw this. This was so bad, this was so cringe, it was just terrible. I don't like 343 Industries. They see something that is cool and beloved by fans, and they think they can actually up the coolness and make it fucking cringe. Of course, during my playtime, my performance went to shit, and it actually shouldn't, but it did because I'm playing on RTX 5070. So I'm like, kinda thinking, what can cause this issue? So I discovered that Unreal Engine games are going to shit the bed if you're going to use game capture in OBS as a window. So using the game capture on Unreal Engine games, any Unreal Engine games, will cause your game to run like complete garbage. If you're going to capture the whole screen as a display, then it's going to be fine. But if you are going to try to capture the game only exclusively, it's going to shit the bed. And it's not only for this game, it's for every single Unreal Engine 5 game, and it's going to run like shit. So that's something that you see on the screen. The game shits the bed because it doesn't like being captured with the exclusive screen, okay? So at the end, I also did play and kill Johnson in the bonus mission, and he respawned inside the wall. That's also something that 343 can't do, like respawn the friendlies. If you kill Williams too much, meaning 2 times, she's going to one-shot kill you. I also tried running around climbing the tree and got stuck. I mentioned this on the beginning, and I had to reload the checkpoint. In second mission, or the first mission, one of the missions, the bonus missions, there were like ships that you should be able to jump into, but you can't. So I could just push them off and blow them up for some reason, but the second one wouldn't budge that much. So I threw a nade at it, and it would just change position. So using the ship, I was able to climb the same position when Johnson was sniping the enemies. I don't even know how Johnson got there, so I'm okay. And I was like, hello, Mr. Johnson, and I tried to push him off the platform, but the game didn't really account for that. So if you push him off the platform, he's instantly getting teleported back. That's the place that you should not be able to get into, but you are. If you throw the grenade well enough, you can just jump up, and you are on the position where the Johnson is. And doing this actually skipped the enemies. So when I climbed the shelf when Johnson is sniping enemies from, some enemies from the previous section went to the next section, and Johnson sniped them all when I was meddling around with the ship and throwing nades at it. So when I jumped to the shelf when Johnson is, I actually was able to pass through this section, and the game would not spawn any enemies in this area that they were supposed to be spawned in it. And I was just like going to the next section despite of the mission marker being still stuck on the doors. So the game just didn't spawn the enemies because you didn't pass through the door. How lazy is this studio? It's astonishing. I also had this encounter with a tank in the bonus missions, and Johnson would just run around with the rocket launcher and do jack shit, so I had to take out the tank by myself. And when I died, it respawned me, and I had to take out this tank again. And I'm going to find out that it's been taken out by Johnson himself in one hit, and I had to shoot it like 8 times. Yep, makes sense, doesn't it? So there's also a remix campaign that will unlock if you collect 3 skulls, and if you collect them, also you have like third-person perspective mode that you want to play to see, or beautiful premium edition skins that you purchased, and like, Jesus wept, look at it. Like, they look like something that was made with AI. Literally looking like a crappy type skins that we had added to Tomb Raider Trilogy Remaster that they made with AI. The whole game feels like it was made by a fucking AI. And at the end of the game, if you finish it on Legendary, you'll get greeted with the additional cutscene, where it starts kinda amusing, and it's stupid. It's like genuinely just a gag, with Johnson sitting on Halo and like eating a sandwich and watching old Johnson in old graphics on a pad, and then he sees an explosion in the distance that Halo is going to be like falling apart, and he's like, okay, that's my cue. And it's kind of amusing, to the moment when Johnson at the end of the cutscene breaks the 4th wall and tells, see you in a sequel. And no, we don't want you to mess with the sequel. We want you to get fired. We don't want any more Halo from you. We want to get Halo from some different set of people that are not called 343 Industries, because you are not called Halo Studios. I refuse to call you Halo Studios. Fire all of these people. These people don't know a thing about Halo. In fact, I would be able to say that, well, risk it. Do the Konami style that they are doing with Silent Hill. Halo is in bad state, so what is the point? So like, let's just try different studios. Xbox should take Halo and like completely shut down 343 Industries and give the like IP, the franchise, to a different studios that are like liked by people, liked by gamers. They do games that actually sell well, and then these studios can have a take on that Halo with maybe some sequel or maybe with some like spin-off game if you want to expand the universe. And yeah, I think that would be a better plan. It works for Konami. Silent Hill 2 remake by Bloober Team was decent. It was not as good as the original, of course, but it was decent. Silent Hill F was really good, and Silent Hill Townfall we are going to see, but so far it seems like it may be really good. Risk it. Everything is better. Every idea would be better than giving these people another go at Halo. Just shut the studio down. That's just that needs to happen for Halo to actually survive. I'm done. Don't play it. Make yourself happy. Buy yourself a good time. You're going in. The MCC Master Chief Collection is very often on sale. $10. You are going to love it. Stay away from this garbage.
Reserve combat teams on decks 5 through 9.